Hey, beautiful people. It is so lovely once again to have your company. So, tomorrow, the 25th of April, it's my birthday. I am a whole year older and I feel it, not in a bad way. I just feel different, really rooted, anchored, deeply grounded, and less concerned about being nice. I think age and time do that. It's like we become alchemized, like a good quality bottle of wine. We become full and enriched and full of flavor, that's less concerned about being nice, and with that comes a sense of being more truthful, and deeply connected, yet more solitary. And I think those of us walk a medicine path, we find ourselves in that space, that sense of feeling very, very deeply connected, yet more solitary. That sense of moving between those two places. And I think that those of us that do walk that path, to cultivate and nourish and nurture this organic, living, breathing relationship to the innate, to something so much greater than ourselves, we kind of move between that space of being very deeply connected, to those around us, and yet also this part of us that is, sort of like gravitating towards that solitary space, or that requirement, or even like a need without being a need. And that's really hard to explain. Turning and gravitating towards the divine and the innate. It's like, the seers of old, they kind of lived on the edge of the village. They lived partially in this world and partially in the other, in a literal sense and in a physical sense of being on the edge of the village, there on the edge of the hedge. We see the hedge as being a very, we see the hedge being a very liminal space, so living just on the edge of the hedgeway, not quite in the village, not quite on the outside of it, on the edge of it. Fringe dwellers, that's what we are. Thank you. Real-time nudge there. We are fringe dwellers. So that sense of feeling deeply connected yet more solitary, I feel that really growing in me, which gives way to a deeper sense of freedom. It's almost like metaphorically, although literally I also see this birthing in me, this sense of grabbing a staff and an oversized hat and nomadically wandering the landscape, and people coming to join me underneath a tree or beside a fireside or beside a waterfall, and a journey taken, a sharing of wisdom and knowledge and stories and experiences, just like wandering this landscape with a staff and an oversized hat. But I can feel that kind of growing in me, and I feel it taking hold, and I feel it literally manifesting in different ways. Maybe it will be over the summer, but kind of nomadically wandering the landscape and sharing those tales and stories, experiences, wisdom and journeys as we go. I feel things, and those things that are stirring and growing into my life, whispering and calling to me as if there is no other way to live. I hear them, I feel them, and they show up in so many ways. I'm aware of the beat of the drum, the passage of time, and how, days can merge into weeks. Moons wax and they wane, and those years roll by, and all so fast, almost as in the blink of an eye. You know, look, you know, these last few years, these last 3 years have absolutely merged and moved so fast. They have literally passed by in a blink of an eye. I remember Spirit saying, you know, or me coming to a realization, you know, just how many more summers do we have? We arrive at a point in time where we have more years behind us than in front of us. And for me, you know, I want to be a good ancestor when I die. We become the ancestors. And I want to plant those seeds now. And I feel that I am planting those seeds now. So not only I will thrive from them, but my children and the land below my feet. You know, I close my eyes and I ask myself for a moment, am I living a wholesome life? I tend to, at this time of year, you know, light that fire, put that kettle on that fire and gaze across that landscape and just gently just kind of like check in and ask myself, you know, am I living a wholesome life? Having a spring birthday does truly feel like a whole new year. And it kind of stirs that up because, you know, the land is rising. You're rising and awakening with the land. How amazing, how blessed and gifted is that? I really do feel that having a spring birthday. You know, it feels as if the land is awakening, so you feel this whole new cycle of time, and you feel this birthing arriving alongside your birthday. And it really does feel like a new year, a true new year. All the years you have lived are experiences that you own, experiences you can build on. And birthdays, they hold such potent magic. So, you know, sitting there with that kettle on that fire around that time, I find it to be a good guide, a good question to hold, for it holds me in integrity. And there is always room to grow, composting what I have outgrown. And that has its natural occurrence, that has its natural rhythm. And that can be experiences, it can be places, it can be things that you've done, or even things that you have. It's like I have this drive to strip back more and more in a physical way, clear out more and more. You know, I'm looking at my bookshelf and thinking I have this physical drive to clear out old books, and I think books are really precious, but I've got this drive to clear out what no longer feels relevant, what I no longer will pick up, and you know, I will gift them and make sure that they go to good and great homes. But there is this kind of surge moving through me that as I move forwards, I'm carrying only what is relevant. There you go. That's clarity, even more clarity in this moment. Carrying only what is relevant. You know, so composting what I've outgrown, and that can also be, you know, some of what, you feel you've drifted away from, that can also be people, I guess. You know, it's that sense of, for a reason, for a season, and for a lifetime. And it's just about, you know, kind of being very aware of where you are and who's moving with you. You know, it's that whole thing, and I've shared it before. You know, it's like when we dream alone, when we dream, and when we dream together, we shape reality. But who are we dreaming with, and who is dreaming with us? And I think they're really important points as well. It's like, you know, I'm kind of very aware of what is in resonance in my world. And it's just composting what we gently outgrow, gently creating space and time so we may adventure into new things. And I really do feel that bubbling, you know, when I say about that staff and that oversized hat, you know, I can feel this nomadic feeling percolating in me, and of course around that is a sense of travelling light. You know, there's so much being alchemized at this time, and it is gently creating that space and time so we may adventure into new things. I can sense my inner child, that young boy that ran around with a stick believing it was a wand. I can feel that percolating and percolating and percolating in me as well. That young boy that ran around with a stick believing it was a wand, that spoke to imaginary friends. The question is, were they really imaginary? I'm not so sure that they were. Who created worlds and slipped through portals with big blue eyes, and big blue eyes, and this custard blonde hair. And I am blessed. I'm really feeling blessed to work for the most amazing corporation this side of the Milky Way. It is, you know, it's this sense of, you know, being in working partnership with the innate, something so much greater than ourselves. And I've always kind of said that, you know, it's like fostering a relationship, and that is that sense of there being that fringe dweller, you know, 1 foot this side of life, 1 foot the other side of life. And you know, I think that as we grow into that good enriched bottle of wine, is that we know who we truly, deeply, really are. And that's really important, isn't it? It's really important to kind of absolutely understand ourselves so much more deeply. And I do, you know, it's like I'm very aware that I have spent the last 26, 27 years 1 foot in this world and 1 foot in the other. And I feel so blessed to be in working partnership with the most amazing corporation this side of the Milky Way. For the universe is walking towards us, not away from us. The universe is walking towards us, not away from us. And my heart is full. I am beyond happy and so very grateful. So sending you all so much love. But I've got some closing thoughts that I want to share with you. And one being the fastest way to travel is by candlelight. So how do you mark your birthdays? Now here's a thought. When I say that, the fastest way to travel is by candlelight. One of the first forms of magic I was ever taught by the innate, and I had a lovely mentor for a little bit of time. And it was the combination of this beautiful mentor, Avery, the travelling witch, and the innate. One of the first things they taught me, and it was like a realization, is candle magic and how birthdays are really powerful, potent portals for making a wish. You know, you think that that birthday cake is held in that space, you know, like children especially, and they've got this cake that's full of candles. You know, maybe they've got 10 candles on there or more or less, and they've got this cake with all these candles, and all their friends and family are gathered around them, sending them all these waves of love. And what do we ask that child to do? We ask that child to close their eyes and make a wish, and then blow that candle out. It is the earliest form of candle magic. It is ancient, very, very powerful. So something to think about when you next blow out some candles on a cake. And I know that I had a really good friend surprise me over the weekend, and her and my boy gathered around that cake and lit those candles. Not 52 of them, but they lit some candles, 2 candles, and I said to me, go on, make a wish. And I think it's really, 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 you know, potent magic, you know. So yes, the fastest way to travel is by candlelight. So the stirring, the shift is, you know, it takes hold, and I kind of feel, you know, full yet empty. Such a contradiction, but it isn't. I feel really, really full, but there's an emptiness, but not in a empty way. I feel full yet empty. It's like there's a stillness. That's what it is. I feel like a change is stirring, and as I was saying, to strip back even more, back to the bare bones, to a deeper humility, more humbleness. I know that when I visited the Bothy over the last few days, you know, there's this deep sense of, you know, being able to get my fingers back into the soil, back into the ground, back into the land, and there is this feeling of more humility, more humbleness. I feel as if I am dissolving. And here's some thoughts about how we can move forward. You know, I'm very aware that there is this collective alchemization that's happening, and a few thoughts that come to mind, and I will share and signpost some stuff that really stirred that up for me as well. You know, many will argue that in order to change the world, we need to fight harder. Fighting for peace, though, is like shouting for silence. It creates more of what you don't want. The inner world, everything that we've been sharing here, that's the other in real-time realization now, where I'm looking at my books, spiritual books that I've collected. I had to clear out probably a decade ago, and I cleared out probably 20 years worth of books, kept the ones that felt very relevant, as I was saying earlier, and now it's probably been a decade, and there is this urge, this drive to even strip back the spirituality. It's like I'm wanting to simplify it even further, you know, and with it comes this sense of self-inquiry. You know, what is it really that is required within myself and within the collective? And there is this drive and this urge to strip it all back, that actually it's wanting to be simplified even further. The spirituality is wanting to be simplified even further. And it is funny because, like, you know, this coming year with the Buffet, I'm wanting to create that into a herbery, more and more herbs for food and for medicine. And there's going to be, you know, some process of alchemization, which, you know, like last winter we done with the mugwort, turning it into a tincture. It was this alchemization, and it's distilling, right? So it's distilling, and that, I feel, is what is arising. This sense of wanting to strip back even further to the bare bones. So, you know, like, fighting for peace is like shouting for silence. It creates more of what you don't want. The inner world is the place where the first revolution must take place. Until then, everything we do will add to the chaos created by the mind. We can't come at this from here. We've got to come from it, from deep within us, and from this heart. The more the mind gets involved, the more fragmented the world becomes. We must remember what it is to be. That's the other thing in this. It's like, you know, all that information, you know, how many books we have that are telling us the same information in a different way. You know, it's like this sense of wanting just to strip back. And the more the mind gets involved, the more fragmented the world becomes. We must remember what it is to be. That's it. That's the key. What it is to be. It's like we have this information overload. It's everywhere. Streaming through 10 different devices. Constantly action. And I guess that, you know, even this message is a message of a call to inaction. It's a call to be, to do less, and to be more. We must remember what it is to be, for we are human beings, and we've become so engulfed in doing and having more and more, we have lost our way. As Spirit once said to me, being lost is the pathway to becoming found. In becoming lost, you have wandered far from your home, from self. Drifted and distracted, you have misplaced your footing and lost your way. Find the courage to stop, a deep stop, blood and bone deep, and let yourself crumble and come back to you. The rest, then rest deeply in self, recover, meet you, meet the truth of who you are and what is real. Profound when that message first flowed through me. It was so profound. It was one winter and I was, you know, feeling this shift between, you know, the busyness and the action of summer to that sense of that call inward into autumn and into winter, and those words poured through me. I was like, wow, what a beautiful message, and one that is absolutely relevant for all of us and to the collective. There's a quote now. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. That was from Buckminster Fuller. And there's a really wise teacher once said, simplifying your life is about simplifying yourself. I'm going to leave that with you. So, closing thoughts, how do you mark your birthday? Where are you at when you traverse that time? What do you do? How do you mark it? What comes up? Sometimes it's about giving ourselves that time to check in, and that's me sharing all of this with you. I'm going to leave a link. My dear dad, over the weekend, we spent some time, and showed me some incredible medicine tools that he's crafted and made, which you will see on my Instagram in the coming weeks. He was sharing them with me, and we had a bit of lunch, and he shared with me this incredible documentary called Inner and Outer Worlds. I will put a link in the description of this video, and it blew me away because it was like mirroring back to me so much of what I was feeling. It was like a gift within itself, that was for sure, and it was like mirroring back, validating, confirming, showing me so much of what I've been feeling and what is stirring up in me. And it's also this blueprint, and these guys that filmed it over 10 years ago, but it without a doubt is a gift to all of us. I will put links within this video. Inner and Outer Worlds, they've got incredible playlist, meditations, and a documentary that is over 2 hours long. On the playlist they've broken it down into segments. It is incredible. None of this is by chance, it is all by design. Those of you who want to follow my daily content, I don't post every day, but our daily content, head over to Instagram. I will put links within this video as well. And yeah, here's to a whole new cycle of time. Take care, keep shining, sending you all so much love.